Our purchase agreement. So, normally what would happen is a company would look into solar, they'd speak to the installer, like ourselves. It's established at some point through that journey that they don't have the funds or they don't want to use their CapEx, they don't want to go down the finance route. So with PPA, we would speak to a company. They will effectively stump up the cash for the install. They will pay us. We're installing the solar on roof free of charge to the client. That system's going to generate energy annually, which they would be sub-metered for. So if they're paying 22, 23p per unit of electric through their current provider, the PPA could be providing them green electric, which hasn't cost them to install for as little as sort of 10, 12p per unit of electric. So still offering a substantial annual saving. I suppose PPA tends to lend itself more to customers who are either perhaps not looking at solely a return on investment, or they're not looking at a reduction in bills. We're now in a time where green credentials is hugely important. You take a logistics firm, for instance, they can't potentially electrify their lorries, so they have a chunky carbon footprint. A huge way to reduce that is by putting solar on the roof. The common challenges of PPA is getting people to understand exactly what it means. For a long period of time, everybody's mindset was that it didn't make sense. Because the cost of solar has come down significantly over the years, but unfortunately the cost of electric has gone up, it now means that the energy can be sold back to you at a far better rate than what it ever has been. So I think once you've got people understanding that it does make financial sense to do a PPA, the next thing is then looking at the leasing options. So effectively it's an airspace lease on your roof. So it's going through heads of terms, it's educating them on what that looks like, debunking the common myths around maintenance, around servicing, cleaning of the panels, and making sure that everyone's just on the same hymn sheet, that PPA is actually, a real good vehicle to be able to get solar on your roof nowadays. So through a PPA, there is always an option to effectively buy yourself out of the agreement at any one point. Ultimately, once that system's on the roof, it's going to deteriorate in value over the years. So once you've agreed your time frame of the PPA arrangement, so anything from 15 through to 25 years, there is always an option to buy yourself out of that sooner. So if a customer doesn't have the CapEx, but in 5 or 6 years' time they do, then they would be able to purchase the system from the fund at a cheaper rate than what it was first installed at.